Hank Pearl here with UVTV and thedailyrock.com. Today I'm sitting with Mary Magdalene, straight out of Hollywood, California. How are you?
I'm awesome.
Rock on. So first off, tell us, how is the tour treating you so far and all that good business?
The tour's been amazing. We're feeling really blessed because it's our first tour. That we've been able to do it ourselves and just get out there, and people are coming to see it, and we're packing houses, and it's been amazing. We're having a great time.
Absolutely. And okay, so for the most part, for one who starts listening to your music, it doesn't take long to find that there are some really intense themes throughout your music. As one who I'm aware that you had a very interesting past with a lot of turmoil and whatnot, how does one take such a harsh upbringing and turn it into works of art that are that are so original and that people are showing up for now?
I think I really needed an outlet, so I was able to find one in music. Thank God. Growing up, living the life that I did, there wasn't a lot of people talking about it. Having drug addict parents, and going to school and having to hide the fact that my mom would like come show up high and try to pick me up, and just a lot of the issues that you have when your parents are like that, or living in foster homes or with your grandparents. I didn't have anything to listen to. I didn't have anything to relate to. And I just felt growing up that I really needed to share my story. And music is my thing. As a kid, I was totally into music, so it like used to transport me. So I figured, what better way than to use music to tell my story, and so that if anyone out there was feeling the way that I did, they could feel like they weren't alone.
Growing up, what sorts of artists would grant you solace and would help you relate to and whatnot? What artists did you dig?
I listen to everything from, Nirvana to Lane Staley to, I grew up with my grandparents, so my aunts and uncles, like all their old music I listened to. I listened to Madonna, Michael Jackson, all kinds of stuff. So there's not one specific type of music that I grew up liking, which I think is really cool about our band, because we all come from different backgrounds, and I think that's kind of what gives us our edge in what we do.
Okay. And with your band coming together, it seems as though you guys kind of had like a chance meeting everyone. Is that correct in saying that?
Totally, yeah. We're all from New York, but we came and we met out in California, which is really weird. And we found each other out there. I met Jesus through when I first started doing music. I was doing it alone. I had bought a 13-inch iBook, which we were still using until not too long ago. Now we have a different one. It's not the same one, but it's the same computer upgraded. But I had taught myself. I bought Pro Tools, and I taught myself how to make music, and I was doing that for a few years in my house, and it had started circulating around Hollywood, and at that point the games manager, Jesus was DJ Ray at the time, he was working with the game, and his manager found my stuff and he was like, I want to put you with him, with Jesus, and I got together with him, and then we wrote Rehab, and then from then it was just like we found Eric B, Jism, and it all just started working.
How has your reception been overall with this tour and also with your fans? Because obviously you had a nice following through your MySpace and whatnot, through getting your music out there. But now with this being your first tour, how are you seeing the turnout? Are you finding fresh fans that are getting into you as well? Where are you being received well? What are you seeing so far?
It's some places we go. The internet is really interesting, because in some places you can pack a house, and some places there won't be as many people. But luckily, we've had a lot of great local bands to bring people, and it's growing. We're such a new band, so like I said, we're just blessed that we can even go out of our town and have people know who we are. That's a great feeling.
With this being your first tour and all, where do you go from here? Are you going to try and do bigger and better
More
tours?
tours, more tours, more tours. Yeah, we're loving it. Just more shows, because right now, we've only had our stuff on MySpace. We put up a few songs and they took off, and we're like, wow, we need to make an album, and so we haven't got a chance to showcase our stuff. So that's what we're most excited about, to show people, hey, we are an actual live band. We can bring it to life, and it's even better live. So we're at this point, we really want to spend the year working on that, and just like playing for as many people as we can.
Are you writing or anything on the road? Is anything coming to you on the road? Or what's your
Always.
system for
Always
writing?
writing, always writing. I have a system where I write at least one or two verses a day. You know, I just try to continuously write, and there's plenty of things that go on the road to write about. You know, there's always some pain or someone on the street that you can. I take it and I put it in my little box and I save it, and you know, I write about it. So, I try to always write. I feel like anything gets better with practice. So.
When it comes to describing your music, it gets very difficult because there are a lot of these different elements thrown in. How would you categorize it, and what sorts of, I could call it demographics, what sorts of fans or scenes are you grabbing after?
You know, that's been the question for the last few years. You know, we finally come to the point that we're the anti-genre, not one certain genre. You know, it's funny because we'll have mothers and daughters come to our show, and you know, they both like it. You know, so it's definitely a broad range of people, and you know, we've had trouble with that. You know, we've named it cyber metal, we've named it street metal, we've been trying to name it forever until we finally just gave up and let it be the anti-genre. Doesn't quite fit anywhere, but what's really great about that is we can play a show with like electronic bands, we can play a show with death metal bands, we could play a show with hip hop bands, and we can always like fit in and get some new fans. So that's been cool. And fun.
Crossover.
Yeah,
Actually.
there's some crossover stuff for sure.
And with with traveling around and with what you see in the world today, obviously your lyrics start off in a very personal place. Are you going for more of a worldview now that you're moving around? Are you staying with the core themes that you've stuck with in the past? Are you finding any new elements, or is it?
You know, it's definitely cathartic for me. I am telling my story from the bottom up, and you know, I'm definitely evolving as a person, and you know, the growth in my life. You know, so it's forever changing. I can't really say where it's gonna go. You know, but like Pity Girl is a little different than R.I.P. in the next one. But they all don't stop, and they're all continuous, which is kind of cool.
Gotcha. And I see you have your little Chihuahua friend here,
Yes.
who is now passed out
Yeah.
asleep. Do you bring pets with you everywhere, just on tours?
Well, you know what happened is he's only 9 months old. It was really hard to find somebody to babysit a 9-month-old Chihuahua. So we brought him, you know, which I'm really glad we did, because he's been like the good energy on the tour. Even the guys, you know, when they're, you know, all, you know, come off tour, you know, come off stage and they're all, you know, and they see Sid and they're like, oh, hi Sid, what are you doing? You know, so it changes everybody's mood. And so he's been, you know, a really good energy on the tour. So I'm glad we brought him. He's the mascot. Plus, I like animals. For me, that you know, it keeps me close to nature and reminds me that I'm human.
And with the band being on tour, we got the dog here. How's tour life here? What sort of every band? Some bands treat it very easy and very recreational. Some other bands go crazy on the road. How have you and the boys been behaving?
You know, I think I was worried about tour because I was like, I could hate it. What if I hate it? You know, I've been working on this this movement for years. I'm going to go on tour and be like, oh, it's horrible. I actually love it. I think it's great. I think it's, you know, you think you're going to have a lot of downtime on tour, but you don't. For some reason, you're always like running late to get somewhere. And even though you have a lot of driving and stuff, it's like, it's hard to catch up, you know. We're not big partiers. We're big workers. You know, but I do think we're all enjoying ourselves and taking time to, you know, smell the flowers and enjoy the scene whenever we can.
Okay. And lastly, can you give us a little bit more on your philosophy as far as taking harsh times and turning into art? Because obviously you are not alone. Obviously there are others out there with similar stories in varying degrees and whatnot. What do you say to people who have a harsh surrounding, want to get out, and need an outlet, and you know, you've taken it to an artistic level, so how do you find that force?
You know, the first thing that I'll say is don't look outside of yourself for somebody to help you. You know, you're never going to find that. For years I was like, somebody has to help me, until I finally realized that I needed to help myself. You know, you need to discipline yourself, and then you need to find your outlet, be it painting or sports or music or, you know, science, whatever your outlet is, find it and use it. That's where you put your pain. That's where emotions are given to us to drive us, to move us. And as soon as you see them as like friends and not foes, you'll be amazed at what you can create and how you can create your life.
Thank you very much. Mary Magdalene is currently on tour. You can find if she's visiting your town at Mary Magdalene at her MySpace. So go check it out. Go listen to her music and fall in love immediately.